And we're going through it for all the hints of what's to come. I'm Sasha Pearl Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. Finally, here it is. The Justice League trailer dropped over the weekend and got the entire world's attention. Here with me to go through it are DC Comics writer Mark Andreyko and Defy and Screen Junkies' very own Adam Hlavik. Before we talk about it, let's watch it. Jonathan? Yeah.
We have to be ready. You, me, the others. There's an attack coming from far away.
Not coming, Bruce. It's already here. The others. Where are they?
Come on.
After Curry.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get mad at that.
It's on him.
Organic and biomechatronic body parts. He's a cyborg.
That's
Should
awesome.
probably move.
Barry Allen. Whoever
But not the one from the CW.
It's not me.
I'm even better than Grant
You're
Gustin.
Batman.
They said the Age of Heroes would never come again.
It has to.
I dig that it's pretty cyborg heavy.
Yeah. I mean, he's the character we know the least about.
Exactly. And the actor who's got the least going into it.
Yeah.
Even her hair is heroic.
What are your superpowers again?
I'm rich.
I'm rich, bitch.
My turn.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Gal Gadot's such a badass.
It's good to see you playing well with others again.
Just like a bat. I dig it.
Maybe temporary.
Welcome to the world of rock and roll, Aquaman.
Welcome to anything, Aquaman. All right, gentlemen. Well, let's unite the 7 talking points. Let's walk through this. And let's start with the Parademon in Silas Stone's apartment and the mother box.
Okay.
Now, Mark, first and foremost, WTF, what is a Parademon?
They're kind of Darkseid's minions. They're insectoid foot soldiers, sort of like stormtroopers, and because they're not human, you can allow Batman to shoot them and people won't complain. Because they're just sort of mindless, aggressive things. They're kind of like locusts.
Cool.
In a lot of ways.
And we've seen them before. We've seen them.
Oh, they've been around since
Right.
since 1970, I believe, was when Jack Kirby created the New Gods. So.
And we saw them in BVS.
Batman versus
because that
Superman.
was
Yeah,
the-
they've been
Sure.
hinted towards
Yeah.
plenty of times, yeah.
Okay, and when we've already heard like a confirmation from the producer Charles Roven that the mother box is going to be a MacGuffin. A MacGuffin, in case you don't know, is basically something that they talk about but doesn't really, like, it's a plot device, but it's never really seen. But what he said was the Amazonians and the old gods came together and decided that based on an event that happened, these mother boxes were going to be placed in the care of the Amazonians, the mankind, and the Atlanteans. Now, I'm not sure if the mankind is a special spin-off that we're going to get, or that was just a mystery.
I thought that meant that the wrestler was going to be in it.
But what do we think is going on with the mother box?
I mean, only thing we can really tell from this trailer and the last trailer is we see the mother boxes being placed in different parts of the world. I think in the last trailer we saw one mother box being buried underground in a forest somewhere. I don't know if that was supposed to be Themyscira or mankind or what it was supposed to be. And I think that's really all we really know. Kind of. It's like three mother boxes are on Earth in 3 different spots. Why or how? we'll find out.
I'm assuming they were put here because we're going to find out who the new gods are.
Yeah.
Who have the mother boxes. The mother boxes are sort of like the tricorder in Star Trek. They can also cure you and everything. They're a really important piece of technology. As we saw how they make Cyborg.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the new gods hid them on the other side of the galaxy in this primitive planet Earth, and now Darkseid has tracked them down.
Yeah.
That's all conjecture based on the history of comics, but there is precedent in that sort of thing.
Going back to the cyborg thing, I said during the trailer, I'm excited that they went pretty cyborg heavy because I feel like they just have left him out up until now. And that's probably because it's not as popular of a character. And also the actor playing cyborg is not as well known.
Right.
Do you think we're going to get as much in the film, or do you think this was more to just like beef the teaser?
I think we're going to get a lot of him in the film because he's on the runway to have his own film in the next couple of years. So my only issue with Cyborg is I'm not a big fan of the sort of fractal looking armor. Yeah. I wish kind of they went with the George Perez design. I wish there was more human because Cyborg in the original comic book, his legs from mid-thigh down are cybernetic, and his hands, but he has like chest. This is just his head, and I kind of wish. But this being a superhero movie, they're going to redesign him 9 or 10 times in the movie for toys and action figures.
Yeah.
So
there will be many versions.
Same
many
with the Flash's costume. We're going to see multiple permutations.
Yeah.
Of these
I
things.
like the Flash's costume.
I think the Flash's costume makes sense. I love that he built this thing that catches kinetic energy and he can shoot electricity. I do feel bad for the CW though, because the Flash show is so much fun and Grant Gustin is great.
He's fantastic.
The budget of all 3 seasons that have been on is less than the budget they spent on craft service this movie. So I'm glad they went a different direction with Flash, so as not to step on its toes too much, so they can be separate things.
Yeah,
I do wish they kept the joke in though when he catches the Batarang and he says, "Can I keep this?" That's such a great joke because that actor is such a great actor that I think he's going to be the one that seals the movie.
Oh, Ezra Miller for sure.
I think
adore him.
I think about the thing with Cyborg. I think maybe people would have accepted it more if there would have been more practicality to the suit. Because the only thing Ray Fisher, as far as I know, had on set was the motion capture pajamas, and he had a headpiece with the red light. Otherwise, the whole thing is done digitally, and I think what could have maybe sold it a little bit better was, especially because you only see half of his face, I think it would have just all came together a little bit better if we would have seen some sort of a practical suit, but they then could have enhanced it with CG, kind of like what they do with Power Rangers. Those are real suits, but they enhance it. But
that being said, this trailer's a minute long.
Right.
And it's all action stuff, so there's going to be probably 128 other minutes in this movie. So to judge anything based on this is kind of just a teaser of what
I mean, Michael Shannon's Zod suit in Man of Steel looks great. Most people didn't know it was CG.
Most people didn't know that the capes were entirely CG.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was crazy.
For sure. Well, speaking of action, we have a flashback to an aforementioned event, which is the Amazonian War. Adam, do you think that this is a prologue?
I think so, and I think there may have been interviews with Zack Snyder or somebody on the movie who did mention that there is going to be a huge prologue piece where they explain how the mother boxes get to Earth, and I think this is going to be a huge part of it.
Well, he did a great job with the prologue piece in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Where you see this world, and it makes sense that if we see a prologue with the Amazons, it makes sense that after this Amazonian War, that might be why Themyscira separates itself from society to hide the mother box.
And it seems appropriate considering Wonder Woman we're going to get right before this movie.
So we did a show last week, and basically what I said was my hope for Justice League and with the Justice League trailer is that it picks up exactly where Wonder Woman leaves off. Like I hope there's like a post-credit sequence that kicks us directly into the Justice League.
Kind of like Captain America: The First Avenger.
Exactly.
Because it's all World War I. Maybe she'll flip and
I think Ben Affleck shows up. From just what I hear, that he shows up as Bruce Wayne, so it would make sense that they would try to bookend it right into Justice League.
Yeah, but do you think there's also a possibility that Wonder Woman's ladies show up to put down the Parademons once Steppenwolf is taken out?
I can't imagine that. There's so much stuff that they need to cover in this movie, and we'll have just seen a Wonder Woman movie, and it's not really fair to Patty Jenkins to have a big Zack Snyder fight scene 3 months after her Wonder Woman movie. It just seems, plus the cost of all the actresses and stuff. I mean, they might. I have no grounds for any sort of basis for this, but I do think that it'll probably be a flashback.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Agreed.
All right. So Batman got jokes, y'all. The reason that you couldn't keep the Ezra Miller joke, because you got to give all the jokes to Batman. I mean,
because Ben Affleck's hilarious.
Did these land for you guys?
They did. I mean, they're not. They don't feel. They feel like they're things he would say. You know, Bruce Wayne would say that. I'm rich. You know, and this may be temporary. I kind of like grumpy Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Kind of, because it actually, ironically, for all the people that complain about the darkness of the DCU, it actually pays homage to the Justice League comic book of the 80s, where Batman was just just a grump in the Justice League.
Yeah.
It was very comedy oriented. Where there's one famous issue of that where he was fighting Guy Gardner, and Guy Gardner's a Green Lantern who's kind of a bully, and Batman he won't shut up, and Batman just punches him. And there's a recurring joke where the Blue Beetle's always laughing. He's like, one punch. So there's precedent for grumpy Batman.
I love it. I think it's great. And Batman's always kind of been the odd man out in the DC universe. He kind of sticks out. He has no superpowers. And I think we as the audience...
addressed in the trailer.
Yeah, and I think we as the audience always make jokes like, well, he's not really a superhero. And usually the rebuttal is always like, yeah, but he's filthy, disgustingly rich. And he can provide all the gear that he needs for the Justice League.
Yeah.
And I love that they actually just make that a point in this movie. And I love the grumpiness.
I want to see Bruce Wayne's tax returns.
Yeah, right?
Release the tax
Release the
returns,
tax
Wayne.
returns.
We want to see them. Another thing that we saw in this trailer is Mira and the possible mother box that is behind her in the background. Hello there, Amber Heard. I mean, obviously, gotta be, right? Like, that's just not, a light box filled with,
Right.
happiness and joy. So, do we think that this is something that will play a bigger part in the film? What do you think is going on in that scene?
Well, I think they're going to set up Atlantis a lot because I think Aquaman is the first movie that's going to be released after the Justice League.
Yeah, November 20 or December 2018.
Yeah, so I
Merry
mean, they're going to
Christmas.
set that stuff up. And once again, if Atlantis had one, Themyscira had one, and the surface world had one, it makes sense to
The Mankind.
The Mankind, yes.
The Mankind had one? Yeah.
You're never getting Charles Roven on the show now.
Pull my quotes. I misspeak all the time. All right. We also have this moment. By the way, have you guys ever been to prison?
Trying to quit.
Yeah.
But-
When you do you put your hand on the glass to connect with your people?
I thought they were doing acting exercises, like mirroring,
Yeah, like this. Well, we have a Henry Allen in jail moment, so now we know which Flash this is. But there is that. Do they do that in jail?
Well, Ezra Miller is a fairly sensitive actor. He
Yes.
plays that sort of raw nerve really, really well. And the idea that Barry Allen doesn't look like he works for the police in this. It looks like he's sort of his lone wolf and has all this stuff in his garage.
Yeah.
That sort of event that might be, if his father was falsely convicted, I could see him being more emotional about that. And I like that. I like the idea that, once again, differentiate from the CW. We already have that Flash.
Yeah.
Make a different one.
Sure. Well, Adam, I mean, where do you think this sort of falls in line with the character?
Well, first, I love the fact that they're going kind of the rebirth route, where they have Henry Allen being the guy who's convicted of Barry Allen's mother's murder. Again, this is more set up for the individual spin-off movies. And even though Flash can't find a director, I think it's cool that they're peppering all these little things in for all the characters, because it just shows huge potential for what these individual stories can be.
Well, it makes me happy that they're showing character moments in a trailer
Yeah.
with a lot of fighting.
Exactly.
Even though they're small, they're moments that you're like, oh, you understand those characters
And
based on the split
I
seconds.
didn't know Billy Crudup was going to show up in this movie. Like, I know they had cast him for The Flash, but it's cool that we're actually going to get to see at least one scene of a little bit of emotional context for the Flash character.
Totally off topic. Billy Crudup in 20th Century Women. God, that was fantastic. Sorry.
I love Billy
Side
Crudup.
note.
It's great.
We also have Commissioner Gordon showing up, and we have J.K. Simmons doing yet another gruff authority figure. Does this work for you guys? How's this commish for you? Do you think that this is the commish you wanted, or is there another commish besides Michael Chiklis?
I think he'll be great as long as it's not the J. Jonah Jameson J.K. Simmons, because I am in the minority where I hated his performance in that Spider-Man movie. I just thought it was so broad. I mean, he was having fun, and there was a consistency. I just didn't like his interpretation of it. It was just too campy for me.
Interesting.
J. Jonah Jameson is historically a jerk and kind of jealous of Spider-Man, and that sort of loud thing, just a little of that goes a long way. I'm not a broad comedy fan, but I think J.K. Simmons is such a, if you watched him on Oz, he's such an actor with such gravitas that I think he'll be good.
What do you think, Adam?
I think that was one of the things that excited me the most about this movie, or especially the Batman universe, is that you got J.K. Simmons to play Commish. I'm super excited. I think they're gonna have a really fun dynamic together, because he can be that very loud and kind of obnoxious type, but he's also can be very precise and very
Whiplash.
Yeah,
Not quite my tempo.
Exactly. So
Not
I
quite
think
my
he'll be
tempo.
great.
Yeah. All right, guys. Biggest question that I got is, where is Superman?
Well, once again, I think Henry Cavill or maybe Zack Snyder a couple months ago sent out that black suit image. So if they're going to fold in the death of Superman and him being reincarnated or him being revived, and we had the Superman in that Bat Dream in Batman versus Superman, I'm assuming that Superman is going to be a minion of Darkseid for a while, and because they're going to be trying to brighten the DC universe, and Superman inspired the Justice League with his sacrifice, and we see Lois Lane, what better way to break through Darkseid's manipulation of Superman than to show his fiance, and that will break Superman, the evil that he's been consumed with, and then put him back on the costume and all that big moment. In the movie that I'm making in my mind, I wish they used the John Williams theme, because the John Williams theme is my favorite piece of music he's ever written. I think it should be our national anthem. That Superman theme is such a great piece of music, but I think that's probably what's going to happen.
I don't disagree with you there.
Yeah, that would be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, when they did show that quick flash of Lois Lane, what was your thought, Adam?
I forgot that Lois Lane was in the movie, but more importantly, I think it was enough connection to Superman without showing Superman.
And look at her. She looks kind of somber. I can imagine that she's seeing superheroes flying around and realizing what she lost. And she's happy that there are protectors there, but she looks like this is a reminder.
It's that whole idea of like, if you want to see his monument, look around.
The only thing that bums me out is the thing that I loved so much about Lois Lane in Man of Steel is that she was not a damsel in distress. She was in on the joke the whole time, and she was sort of taking care of herself. And I feel like in this one, they're totally going to tie her to the tracks, and it's going to be about.
Oh, I don't think that at all. I think they're going to get her and bring her. I would see. I think they might, if she does come and convinces Superman to find his humanity again. I think she's going to be proactive. I don't think Amy Adams. So. Amy Adams is such an actress with enough work behind her that I don't think she would want to play the damsel in distress. I think she would be proactive, and we've seen her be proactive even in Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
So I would like that. I don't think we're going to see that.
That's my fear and my hope, and I'm glad you're allaying.
I do hope that they restrain themselves from showing Superman too much. It's no secret that he's coming back. We all know he's coming back, but I don't want the trailer to show me how he's resurrected.
Yeah.
I don't want them to give that away. Kind of like when they gave away Doomsday. I was like, so we're killing Superman, right? That's the plan? Like, I don't really need to know this.
It's a lose-lose situation with the internet and everybody's opinions with these trailers. They complain that you don't show enough. They complain you show too much. It's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's like, which bed do you want to sleep in? Which is just right? And as a fan, I would love to see what Steppenwolf is going to look like, and I would love to see Superman coming back. But by the same token, I don't want to see too much. It just takes away from the fun of the movie. It's like, we haven't seen Ares in the Wonder Woman trailer. I hope they don't show him until that movie opens.
Yeah.
Because that would be awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of the fans and speaking of the internet, I'm a jerk, and I did not yet introduce our man on social, Victor Torres, who is over here.
Hello.
Hi, Victor.
Hi.
So we asked everyone what their favorite parts of the trailer were, and what did they have to say?
There's a lot of love for Aquaman.
Yeah.
Like a lot
My
of love.
people. I love
Amanda
it.
Maria says Aquaman was a standout for me. Ron Diesel says Aquaman riding on the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And the leather jacket says Aquaman is a highlight. Cyborg CGI is a bit iffy.
Oh.
A couple things to cover. Parademons were first seen in The New Gods #1 in 1971 by Jack Kirby. There has been talk about a prologue or flashback in a scene referenced as the history lesson. Devin Farsi with Birth Movies Death reported this in June 2016 from a set visit.
Right.
So it looks like there will be kind of an explanation of where the mother boxes came from, how they got to Earth, and what their capabilities are. And yes, a MacGuffin is an object or device in a movie or a book that serves merely as a trigger for the plot. You're dead on.
A MacGuffin mother box. All right, guys, before we go, what are your final thoughts on this? Negative, positive, whatever.
Final thoughts, I thought it was a great first trailer. A lot of people said they would have liked to have seen so many other things, but I think as the first, you can't treat the Comic-Con trailer as a trailer because this is going to be the first thing that everyone in the world will see when they go to theaters or whatever. So I think it was perfect to really focus on the team, which I think why the song also works. It's very like on the nose, but I think it works for what they're trying to do. It's about uniting this team together.
Yeah.
You don't want vague, obtuse trailers. The trailer it's a teaser trailer, and the movie doesn't come out for another 10 months.
Right.
So you want something like that. My only concern is Aquaman is a dude, bro. I just don't know. I will hold out my opinion until I see the final movie, but him being sort of like a kegger guy kind of freaks me out a little. I'm a little nervous about that if I can be honest.
I kind of see why they did it because Aquaman is he's the joke all the time. He's the guy who talks to fish. So I think that's why they purposely went kind of this. So I was not expecting it to be as comical as it was, but I get why they're trying to sell it.
If he's overcompensating by being the cool, making himself the cool guy, that's actually interesting. That would change my opinion. If he's just like I'm gonna be cool and be in on the joke before you make the joke. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I have no qualms about the Aquaman. The Aquaman situation is just fine for me. But we want to know, what did you guys think? Were there any moments that we missed in the trailer, and what were your favorite parts? Let us know in the comments below. You can tweet us at SJ News. Make sure to like and subscribe. Of course, you can always click here for more Screen Junkies, and we'll see you again very soon.